That's how it works. My name is Mike Jackson, ladies and gentlemen. Whether you're with us live today on this Friday afternoon, we call this Volara Tech Talk, where we kind of cover the technology and learning the language of how to share the technology with other people. So whether you're a veteran in our business, like Bobby up there, welcome Bobby, used to sell automobiles, now he sells ActivePure Technology, and we're glad to have Bobby on the call. But ladies and gentlemen, we're going to kind of go through how this technology came into our ownership, what we have done with the technology, where it's going, and how you can share it with the world. So let's start by going back to our live PowerPoint, and we'll kind of tell the story of this great company. We're an American-based company, ladies and gentlemen, but we have offices all over the world and factories all over the world. This is the world headquarters in Addison, near Dallas, Texas. And then, of course, this is our one of our main manufacturing plants. Liddy, we have 1 million square feet under roof manufacturing these air and surface pros, along with our other technologies. We in February of 2020, we manufactured 25,000 air and surface pros for the entire year. That's what our prognosis was for sales for the year. Folks, we sold all 25,000 systems in 1 week in the month of February of 2020. We fired up all of our factories, working 24/7, 3 shifts to keep up, and we've done a great job of keeping up. We've had virtually 0 back orders, maybe a little bit more than 0, but not much. And usually if we have a back order, we fill it almost immediately. So we're very, very excited about where this technology is going. Now, folks, we always say that you can't solve problems using the same kind of thinking that caused the problems. Well, we have a problem in America. It's called sick building syndrome. It's called indoor air pollution, and it's a combination of many things. We have mold and mycotoxins. We've got viruses now that, of course, that we're learning about. We've got bacteria. We have all kinds of issues that you never had outdoors before because nature tends to take care of those things outdoors. But indoors, we've had a lot of serious problems. And of course, in 2020, we had a brand new problem thrust upon the world, not around the country, but around the world. That new problem was called the COVID SARS virus that causes COVID-19. We learned about the CDC. Most of us never spent much time thinking about the CDC or the FDA or any of that kind of stuff, but it's become kind of commonplace in the 2020, 2021 language. And we went to the CDC and said, what do we do? What do we do about this problem called SARS, called indoor air pollution, called COVID-19? They said the number one thing that we need to do is to physically remove the hazard. See, if you go down here to the least effective thing to do with this problem is protect workers with masks and gloves and sanitizer. The number one best way to solve the problem is to physically remove the hazard from the home or from the business. We're talking, ladies and gentlemen, about removing the COVID SARS virus from your environment. If it's not there, it can't get into your lungs. It can't get into your sinuses. It can't get into your body. So we have developed a technology that was first designed by NASA for the International Space Station. You know, I've said that probably 1,000 times, and it starts to get old when you're the one saying it over and over and over, NASA, NASA, NASA. But think about what I just said. We turned to NASA, the space organization that developed the International Space Station. And they had developed a technology, Robia Turner, that eliminates the problem on the International Space Station. And we were able to retrofit, to design, to tweak, to patent, and to test at the highest levels a technology that is now called ActivePure. ActivePure is inside the air and surface sanitizer. This is a major breakthrough in science. It's a major breakthrough in human health. Liddy, it's the #1 most sought after, most effective air and surface sanitizing technology ever discovered. I guess I can't say on the face of the earth, because it was actually developed out there in space. It's now been called one of the top 7 inventions that was designed originally in space for use here on Earth. What are some of the other ones, ladies and gentlemen, that were developed up there for use down here? How about LASIK surgery? How about things like GPS? So when you're going down the street, you don't get lost. How about satellite TV? All these are introductions into our lives that we wouldn't have today if it wasn't for NASA. This technology, called ActivePure, has been called one of the 7 top inventions in space for use here on Earth. So how does ActivePure work with the air and surface sanitizer? And this technology is a progressive technology. It's a twofold system. The first part of the technology is that it sends out what's called bipolar ionization. Some people call it pulse ionization. It's a combination of negative ionization and positive ionization that pulses 60%, 40%, and it sends these ions just like you find next to a waterfall. Have you ever stood next to a waterfall, Liddy, and you feel that freshness in the air? There's no pollution in the air next to a waterfall because that mist cleans the air just like after a rain. Our technology used the same ionization that the sun makes outdoors to clean the air indoors. According to the University of Cincinnati, 200 times faster than if you did not have this machine turned on. Can you imagine that? You turn this machine on, and the particles that are in the air that you can't even see, but you are breathing them into your lungs, they are gone 90%, ladies and gentlemen, in 30 minutes, according to the University of Cincinnati peer-reviewed published studies. That is impressive. So the first thing the technology does, Liddy Flom, is it clears the air of particles. Then it sends out ActivePure. ActivePure is a patented process that our company developed from the original research of NASA. And the technology moves throughout your house, ladies and gentlemen, at 1,200 feet per second. Can you imagine that? People say, how can that be? Think about this. When you cook popcorn in the microwave in the kitchen, how fast can you smell it in the bedroom? Instantly. You see, those air currents take the popcorn smell. Well, ActivePure moves on the air currents throughout your house, throughout your business, throughout your school, throughout your church at 1,200 feet per second, creating microscopic hydrogen peroxide. Imagine you take hydrogen peroxide and you put it on a sore. It kills the germs, it kills the bacteria, it heals the wound, it has no side effects. You use hydrogen peroxide as a mouthwash. It doesn't have any side effects whatsoever, it just kills germs and bacteria and viruses. Well, our technology is microscopic H2O2. You can't smell it, you can't see it, you don't know it's there, but it's going out onto the air currents, and everything it touches, the OH1, the superoxides, the hydrogen peroxide, it turns pollution into harmless elements. This is the cell that does the work. We'll talk about that in a minute. So ActivePure is not only an air cleaning technology, but as you're going to see, it's also a surface sanitizing technology. I was on the phone yesterday and today again with the 3rd largest school system in the USA. They have terrible problems. They've spent tens of millions of dollars on HEPA filters that do nothing. They do nothing for SARS-CoV-2. They've invested in UV lights into their ducts that do nothing at all. These are feel-good solutions. They make you feel good, but they do not solve the problem, and that's easy to prove. How about ActivePure, Robia Turner? We took ActivePure to one of the top FDA approved laboratories on the planet, the University of Texas Medical Branch. This is where the US military and the CDC, Centers for Disease Control, use strict FDA protocols to test things. They tested our technology, ladies and gentlemen. This is stunning what I'm about to tell you. The SARS-CoV-2 virus cannot live with ActivePure in the home environment for more than 3 minutes. In 3 minutes, we get that dead to 99 point, more than 9%, 99.96% to be exact. This is a world big news announcement. That's why CNBC asked our CEO to come online at noon on TV and tell the story. That's why PBS did a story about this technology. And breaking news, there's new things coming. I talked to our CEO today. Every 2-3 weeks, some earth-shattering announcement is going to take place. It's just continuing to get better. So number one, we know that if you have this air and surface technology in your home, that we have FDA reviewed studies that say that it cannot survive aerosolized in the air. In 3 minutes, it's gone. Well, how about the tabletop? How about the floor? How about the side of your couch? How about your keyboard? How about your telephone keyboard? How about your screen? These are all places where this SARS-CoV-2 virus tends to gravitate towards down. And here's what happens. The mold, the viruses, the bacteria gets down into the porous materials in your home. You can spray sprays and Lysol and this and that, but as fast as that stuff dries, those viruses, those molds, those bacteria begin to surface. Our technology is different, folks. Our technology goes right down into those surface, and you can see we get up to 99.98%. That's 4 log kill. That is essentially not detectable. This testing was done at MRI Global, an independent FDA compliant laboratory. And what they're measuring is how fast does this technology kill the SARS-CoV virus compared to the normal deposition rate, the normal death rate, and you can see how much we improve it. So we are really pumped. We're really excited. Now, there's some fun things that you can do. I told you about that 3rd largest school district in the USA. They wanted to know what could we do with the teachers union and with the parents and with the students to show them kind of like a visual. The science is great, but is there a visual? I said, well, how about if we put 10 Petri dishes out into your schools and then put ActivePure in? This is an example of what they're going to see this week. This is the Petri dish that we took a sample in my dad's bedroom. My dad was suffering at 68 years old from really, really bad asthma attacks. He was using an inhaler every day. And we knew there was something inherently wrong. So we went and tested his house, and we found mold, bacteria, and viruses growing rampantly. So what we did is we brought in ActivePure for 8 hours, Robia. You know exactly where I did this. We sanitized his bedroom and then retested with a new dish. This is the dish after ActivePure. This is the dish before ActivePure. Ladies and gentlemen, you get to choose. Where do you want to live? How do you want to live? How safe do you want to have the air that you're breathing? People say, well, maybe this is all made up. I just had a really, really good friend, very young, very healthy, die. They died from COVID-19. Please don't tell me that this is not serious, that this is fake, that this is a plandemic. Maybe it is. But here's what I know. Just because we look both ways when we go through an intersection, if we don't see the car and it runs us over, we're still dead. Okay? So just because we may or may not agree with what's going on in the world of politics doesn't mean we don't need to protect ourselves. Doesn't mean we don't need to be smart. So this technology is like an insurance policy. It's like an insurance policy that can protect your family, protect your home, protect your automobile, protect where you work. Very, very excited to be able to have NASA develop technology that has now been called, folks, one of the top 7 introductions into our world from space technology. This company is held in the highest esteem over at the Space Foundation, and we're excited to be one of those 75 companies in the Hall of Fame. Let's take a look at how the technology works. Everybody has heard of coronaviruses. Some of you have not heard of RNA viruses. RNA viruses are the coronavirus family. Okay, so when we tested our ActivePure on RNA coronaviruses, we found that in 60 minutes, Liddy, we reduced those coronaviruses by 99.49. That's called, folks, 6 log kill. That's essentially what that means, is not detectable, not transferable, not catchable, whatever you want to call it. It gets rid of it, folks. But here's what's really cool. We don't know what's coming down the pike next week. Now they're talking about variations of viruses. They're talking about new viruses. A while back, we had the avian bird flu. We have all these different things that aren't you good about and feel good about this, that anything we've ever tested ActivePure on, it's worked. We've never had one single microorganism, one bacteria, one virus, one mold that it didn't work on. Now, it works at different speeds. For example, RNA viruses, 6 log kill, 60 minutes. DNA viruses, 4 log kill in 60 minutes. They're both not detectable. They're both gone, but it's to the point where it's ridiculous. It's so small. How about things like MRSA, antibiotic resistant staph? We've heard about that, staph infections. I'll show you something about that in a minute, but 99.9% reduction of MRSA. How about the stuff in the air? These are the studies that we talked about at the University of Cincinnati. Now, keep in mind, those of you that are junior scientists, those of you that are engineers, this is not a study that Vlada did. This is not Joe's laboratory down the street that you pay $500 to and tell them to put whatever you want on paper. This is a major university, peer-reviewed, published. That means a bunch of peers, scientists, studied it. It means they published it in journals, and they said, this is real. This technology takes particles out of the air by 90% in 30 minutes. Folks, we've got the real science here. But how about, we talk about air, how about the surfaces? I went into a hotel in Bloomington this Saturday and Sunday. I got stuck there. It was 50 degrees below zero in Minnesota. I was coming here to Texas, and the planes couldn't come here. And so I went into a hotel room. In a hotel room, one of the dirtiest places that you can touch is the television remote. We took a television remote in a hotel room, and we found 920 fungi colonies forming on one television remote control. We brought this technology called ActivePure into the room with the television remote, and in 24 hours, there were 0 fungi colonies on that remote control. We left the technology run for 30 days. And with live people using the room, guess what? It was still at 0. Folks, in your home, in a schoolroom, think about the pencil sharpener. Think about the desktop. Think about the trays the kids eat on. This technology doesn't just clean the air. This technology actually cleans the surfaces in that schoolroom, in that church, in your home. So we have got some wonderful technology that we are sharing with the world, and this call is to inform you about that technology and to encourage you to own the technology, to encourage you to help us share the technology. Now, here's a couple of things that you'll find interesting. This is one of the reasons that 10,000 schoolrooms have been opened up, in my estimation, in November and December, and another 7,500 in January. The schools found out in Indiana, for example, and in Pennsylvania, that we had an 80% reduction in dismissals and absenteeism from flus and colds in the schools when ActivePure was installed. Does that blow your mind? It blows my mind. It blows the principal's minds. It blows the administrator mind. Why? Because they get $60 a kid every time they're in a desk. If they're not there, they're losing money. The school attendance this year is down by 50%. The kids aren't going to school, so the schools don't get funding. When you put this technology in, kids don't get as sick and they come to school. How about staph infections that we talked about earlier? The one that we talked about earlier was a study on what it does for staph. This is real world here. This isn't a study in a laboratory. This is real world, Liddy. In the first year at this Ohio school, they had 8 staph infections. So they thought, what is going on? How come these kids in the gymnasium are getting staph infections? So Robia, they called in the professional cleaners. They came in and they did the big foggers and the big sprayers and the big disinfectants you don't want inside a schoolroom for our kids to breathe, but that's what they brought in. Guess what? The staph infections didn't go down. They went up to 14 the second year. So what did they do? One of our distributors came in and said, you should put ActivePure in the locker room. The next year, guess what they had? 0 staph infections. That's why the schools are jumping on board with this technology. We've got schools all across the country. Some are putting in 10 machines. Some are putting in 50 machines. Some have put in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of machines. I think the biggest one was almost 1,480 that put this technology in. But the schools are catching on. The schools are getting excited about this technology. And you know, people say, well, how schools? Well, I throw out a big net. I throw out a net and they come in. Say, well, what do you mean you throw out a big net? I have a network. You have a network of people that know people that know people. And they go out and they meet people and they get us into the room. If you have somebody over at, for example, my barber got into the Palm View School District. He said, I know the guy, the administrator over at the school. And he got me in there. Guess what? The school bought 160 of the Air and Surface Pros, and it all happened because of somebody like you that cared enough to bring this technology to a school, to a church, to a business, to a home. It doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen. We are absolutely killing it with this amazing technology, bringing it to the world. The professional sports world has found out. I saw a picture the other day of the Air and Surface Pro next to the New York Yankees World Series, what do they call them things? A trophy. We've got these technologies, these air technologies, these water technologies, our different units in all these professional sports teams, and they love them because they don't want their $1 million players getting sick. So right here, one more thing I wanted to show you. This is really crazy good. I've learned more about this today. ActivePure is now being utilized and brought into hospitals. As a matter of fact, I want to show you guys something. The Cleveland Institute, one of the top hospital groups, most people say it's the second most powerful hospital group behind Mayo in the world today. They just started a double-blind study with 50 operating rooms. I thought it was 2 operating rooms. It's 50 operating rooms that have 2 of the air and surface sanitizers installed. Here's how it works. The operation has to be at least an hour long. In other words, the person's body has to be opened up for at least an hour. And the technology is in that operating room. We're going to do 43,000 operations with people that are more than an hour-long operation with ActivePure running. And then we're going to do 43,000, I'm not going to do it, but 43,000 operations that are at least an hour long with placebos. What's the goal of the study? To show that ActivePure can reduce nosocomial infections to maybe as little as 0. We don't know what the results are going to be, but here's what I always say to people. I had somebody today, I like to call them junior scientists, that says, how do I know that this really works? Well, number one, we've got studies galore. We have studies galore. Number two, do you think that the second largest hospital group, the second most powerful hospital group in the world, would put these machines in 50 operating rooms with surgeons and live patients if they didn't vet it, if they didn't believe it, if they didn't say this was the answer? Folks, we've got a tiger by the tail. We've got something that is big, big, big. Now, let me show you as we wind down this tech talk, how the technology works. Units with ActivePure pull free oxygen and water molecules that are already in the air through ActivePure's patented honeycomb matrix. This is the honeycomb matrix, Liddy. Okay, so what we're doing is we're pulling free oxygen and moisture through this honeycomb matrix. We have a technology that creates powerful oxidizers known as ActivePure molecules. These molecules are released from this ActivePure cell. They're released back into the room. Do you see any filters here? Do you see a HEPA filter here? No, 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 no. HEPA filters don't work. That's 1970s, 1980s technology that tries to draw the particles from a home, from a business, from all the way across the house into a filter. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen at the Cleveland Institute. It doesn't happen at a school. It doesn't happen in our home. This is technology that creates powerful oxidizers known as ActivePure molecules that are released back into the room. This is different than filtering, Liddy. Filtering tries to suck particles to a filter. It tries to draw particles to a UV light, somehow getting that UV light for 2 or 3 seconds to inactivate that virus or that mold. This technology is the opposite. We send the same purifying process that the sun makes outdoors. See, outdoors, the sun kills SARS-CoV. It kills swine flu. It kills avian bird flu. It kills hepatitis. That's why that stuff doesn't run rampant outdoors. When the cold comes and people come indoors, people say, oh, they went out in the cold and got the flu. No, 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 no. They came indoors where other people were gathered together and touching things, and they got each other sick. This technology goes into your home, sends out the purifying plasma where it kills DNA, RNA viruses, swine flu, avian bird flu, hepatitis, and everything else that it's ever gone up against. Now, folks, we have a company called Volara that supplies these amazing technologies to the world. We have machines that are for your whole home. We have machines that are for your automobile and for the desk at your office. You can unplug it from your car. You can put it on your desk. We have little machines, believe it or not, that go around your neck. It's called an electronic mask. When I was on the airplane coming back from Minneapolis to here in Texas, the plane was packed. Every chair. Don't tell me about social distancing. Don't tell me about all the things that the airlines are doing to protect us. If they can put 300 people on an airplane and get a fare, they're going to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, when I had this technology around my neck, I was one of the few people on that plane that had a force field around my breathing zone. Where people are sneezing and coughing and hacking on that plane, I feel protected. Now, they still make me wear my little mask because they will take you to jail if you don't do that. But I feel really, really good having that technology on my body. Where are these technologies being used, folks? Well, millions of them have already been installed in homes and businesses. We already talked about the NASA space station and the Liberty Bell. You know, you can't go see the Liberty Bell unless you go through a security facility that has ActivePure installed. Doctors are putting them in their offices. Dentists are putting them in their offices. Hotels are catching on. We're now getting into the nursing homes. How's all that happening? It's happening from you. You are going out there and you are telling the story about ActivePure. We've got 274 rooms today. You are the heroes of this story, Dr. Carrie White. You are the heroes, Dorothy Sharp and Caitlin. You are the ones that are taking this technology to the world. Faye, Marcos, we don't have millions of dollars in advertising on Madison Avenue. You don't see us on the halftime of the Super Bowl. That's why we've been able to pay our distributors hundreds of millions of dollars, Bobby, for taking this technology to the marketplace and helping people to own this technology. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for taking this hour, actually 38 minutes, and learning about this amazing technology. And to be able to verbalize it, Abe Silos, and take it into your mind and into your heart and figure out, how am I going to tell other people? Now, this particular recording, I'm going to save, and I'm going to post it on my website with a link, so that if you have somebody that wants to take 38 minutes to learn about the most powerful, health building, life changing, home sanitizing, surface sanitizing technology that was ever invented, ever discovered, you'll have a place to help you do that. I want to thank each and every person for joining me. I want to thank Liddy for hosting this call every Friday at 4:30. Next week, we'll do it again at 4:30. Then at 5:30 next week, next Friday, we'll be covering how you monetize this. Abe Silos, how have you earned more in the year 2020 than you ever dreamed possible sharing this technology? Those are the stories that we're going to tell next Friday at 4:30 and then at 5:30. Now, for those of you that are already in the business, last thought. Tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock, we're on week number 6. Robia Turner, you've been hosting and co-hosting this powerful training. Robia, make a quick word on this. I have people calling me every day. In fact, Hezbollah, who's on this call right now from Port St. Lucie, just sold her first 5 machines. She said, Mike, those Saturday calls have empowered me to go out with confidence and share this technology. Robia, why should people come tomorrow morning?
Hey, Mr. Jackson. Well, we're very excited about what's happening. We've got what we're calling the 12-week year program that everybody can come to Saturday, where we've already covered 5 different topics. But the main draw is, hopefully for everyone, is we're compressing time and getting laser focused on helping all these different people from our extended Velar family come into one place, and whatever goals they're striving for, part-time goals, full-time goals, career goals, everybody's learning that it's the same verbiage, it's the same language, it's the same action. It's the massive activity that changes depending on the goals that you want. But we're taking what's on paper and what you read on the pamphlets and, hey, this is how it's supposed to work. And you and I are going through as best we can and just breaking it down to real world, simplistic things, telling you how it really is, Mr. Jackson, the things that you and I have experienced in the past, but the things that we're experiencing currently. And so, and all the stories we're hearing from the field, but we're just making it simple so that hopefully, like you said, I love that word you're using, people are leaving empowered and able to go out and have real world conversations and see it for the opportunity that it is, both good and the challenges. But there are not that many challenges, Mr. Jackson, when you have the knowledge and the power that we're sharing. So bring yourself, bring your others. And the thing that I appreciate about you, Mr. Jackson, is you're recording all these. So if you bring on a new partner, we're sending out a link every Sunday or Monday that has all the recordings. So it's never too late for a new team member to jump in, catch up, and be part of this journey with us together.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, come on, learn how to pay off your mortgage 20 years early. That's not an exaggeration. That's reality. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day, everybody. Appreciate you. Love you. Thank you, everybody. You guys are awesome. Open her up, Robia.
Thanks.